The stars stretched endlessly across the black canvas of space, each one twinkling like a distant promise. Captain Arya Jensen sat in the cockpit of the Endeavour, her fingers lightly resting on the controls. She watched the distant planets drift past, a quiet hum filling the ship. This mission was supposed to be routine. Explore uncharted sectors of the Zerithian system and gather data for the United Earth Exploration Council. Routine, however, was a fragile illusion. Her crew bustled quietly around the ship, checking instruments and confirming navigation charts. Lieutenant Rian, her second-in-command, glanced at her and offered a small smile. "Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?" he asked, eyes flicking to the holographic map hovering above the console. Arya shook her head slightly, her brown hair falling across her face. "I'm thinking this system feels different, like there's something here, waiting. I can't explain it." Rian shrugged, though his expression showed he shared her unease. "Different doesn't always mean dangerous, Captain, but it does make things interesting." Arya leaned back in her chair, her gaze fixed on the planet below. It was a pale blue-green, with streaks of silver clouds swirling across its surface. From orbit, it seemed peaceful, serene even. Yet something about the readings made her stomach tighten. The energy signals were unusual, strong, concentrated, and definitely artificial. "Prepare for descent," she said softly, her voice steady but full of anticipation. "We're going in. Let's see what's hiding beneath that atmosphere." The ship shook slightly as it entered the planet's gravitational pull. The crew secured themselves as sensors went wild, scanning the terrain below. Massive cities, once vibrant and alive, now lay in ruins. Towers that must have once reached the clouds were bent and broken. Streets were scarred and empty, evidence of battles that had long ended. Arya's heart sank. She had expected to find something unusual, but nothing had prepared her for the scale of this destruction. "This wasn't a natural disaster," she whispered, almost to herself. "Someone or something attacked this planet." Rian nodded grimly. "Looks like the Krath did this. They've been moving fast in this sector. We may have stumbled into a war zone." The Krath were infamous across many galaxies, ruthless conquerors who captured civilizations, experimented on their strongest members, and left entire worlds in ruin. Humans had only recently begun to encounter them, and every report painted the same picture. The Krath were dangerous, clever, and merciless. "Scan for survivors," Arya ordered. "We can't leave anyone behind, if we can help it." The ship's sensors flickered, then locked onto a faint energy reading deep within the ruins of what had once been a palace. "Captain," the sensor officer said, "there's life. But it's weak. Very weak." Arya's heart raced. "Plot a course. Take us down there." Slowly, quietly, the Endeavour descended through the thick clouds, weaving between broken towers and jagged structures. The closer they got, the more Arya realized how much had been lost. The palace was magnificent even in its broken state. Tall spires reached toward the sky, and intricate carvings of a culture she could barely imagine still clung to shattered walls. But the destruction was total. Smoke curled from collapsed roofs, and the air shimmered with residual energy from some unknown weapon. When they finally landed on the palace grounds, the crew disembarked cautiously. The silence was heavy, almost suffocating. Even their footsteps echoed unnaturally in the emptiness. Arya's eyes scanned every shadow, every corner, aware that danger could come from anywhere. Then she saw her. A figure lay half buried under debris from the collapsed palace roof. The being was taller than a human, with delicate, iridescent skin that shimmered like liquid metal. Her eyes, a deep and luminous violet, fluttered open for a brief moment before closing again in exhaustion. Even in the dim light, Arya could see the elegance of her form, the aura of leadership that surrounded her. She realized immediately this was not just any survivor. This was royalty. "Lieutenant," she said quietly. "That's the Queen." Rian froze, then swallowed hard. "Queen? Are you sure?" Arya nodded. I've seen holographic records of Zerithian rulers. This matches the descriptions. We have to help her. The crew rushed forward, but Arya stopped them. Careful. We don't know if she's armed, or if the Krath are nearby. Slow and steady. Move the debris with me. For hours they worked, lifting pieces of concrete, twisted metal, and shattered crystal. The queen groaned softly under the weight, her breathing shallow. Arya wiped the sweat from her forehead and met her eyes. The gaze was brief, confused, and filled with fear. Please, Arya whispered. You're safe. We won't let anything happen to you. Finally, the last piece of debris was removed. The queen's chest heaved as she drew a deep, trembling breath. Arya helped her sit up, supporting her carefully. The queen's eyes widened, and she looked directly at Arya. You, she whispered, her voice melodic and trembling. You saved me? Arya smiled faintly, feeling a mix of relief and awe. Yes, I did. You're safe now. That's what humans do. We help, even when the odds are against us. The queen blinked rapidly, trying to process the words. She had seen countless species in her life, some powerful, some cunning. But humans were fragile. They were small, weak, and unremarkable compared to the mighty Zerithians or even the Krath. And yet, here was one of them, risking her life to save another. The queen's astonishment was evident. She tried to speak again, but her voice faltered. Arya offered her water, and the queen accepted it gratefully. Slowly, with human patience and gentle encouragement, she began to regain her strength. We need to get you somewhere safe, Arya said. The Krath could return at any moment. Everia, the queen nodded, still in shock. I cannot believe. A human. It is impossible. Arya helped her to her feet, leaning on her shoulder for support. The crew quickly set up a temporary shelter in the ruins of the palace, creating a small safe zone. As they worked, Arya glanced around at the destruction once more, her mind racing. This planet, this civilization, it deserved more than death and ruin. If the humans could help, they would. Captain, Rian said, breaking the silence. The energy readings are fluctuating. The Krath might be nearby, scanning for survivors. We need to move, fast. Arya looked at the queen, who was trying to regain her composure. I know, she said firmly. But we can't leave her here. We'll move quietly, stay low, and get her to a safer location. The queen, Lyria, nodded weakly. I trust you, she whispered. Her voice carried a mix of fear and newfound respect. I have never trusted outsiders before. But you are different. Arya felt a strange warmth at those words. Humans were often underestimated, even by themselves. Here, in this distant galaxy, they were proving that courage, compassion, and ingenuity could surpass size, strength, and expectation. As the sun began to rise over the shattered city, Arya and her crew prepared for their journey deeper into the planet. The mission had changed. They were no longer just explorers, they were saviors, allies, and perhaps the first true hope this civilization had seen in centuries. The queen, supported by Arya, walked among the ruins with quiet dignity. She looked at the humans with a mixture of disbelief and admiration. You are extraordinary, she said softly. I have seen many worlds fall. I have seen many species. But you, humans, you have courage I have never known. Arya smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. We may be small, she said, but we never give up. That's what makes us human. And that's why you're alive today. For the first time, Lyria allowed herself a faint smile. Despite the ruin, despite the loss, hope had returned. And it came in the form of humans. Unexpected, resilient, and brave. The sky above them was wide and full of possibilities. The stars that stretched endlessly across space no longer seemed distant and cold. They felt like a promise, a reminder that even in the darkest places, light could emerge from the most unlikely of sources. Arya looked up at the sky, gripping Lyria's arm gently. "This is just the beginning," she said. "We'll make sure your people survive, and together, we might just turn the tide." Lyria's violet eyes shimmered with a mixture of hope and wonder. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she believed it might be possible. She was alive. Her people might still have a chance. And humans could be the key to saving them all. The air was thick with tension as Arya helped Queen Lyria step cautiously through the ruined streets. Smoke still curled from collapsed buildings, and the smell of burned metal and stone hung heavily in the air. Despite the devastation, Arya could see the remnants of a once great civilization. The intricate carvings on walls, the shimmering towers, and the vast plazas that had once hosted gatherings of thousands. Lyria moved slowly, leaning on Arya for support. Every so often, she paused to touch a piece of fallen architecture or a broken statue, her eyes reflecting both sorrow and determination. This was my home," she said quietly. "Everything I knew, it is gone." Arya squeezed her shoulder gently. "We'll help rebuild, Lyria. But first, we need to get you and your people to safety. We can't fight the Krath head-on, but we can outsmart them. That's where humans shine." Lyria blinked at her, surprised. You are confident. I would have expected fear. Most species run from danger. Humans, you face it." Arya smiled faintly. "It's not fear we lack, it's determination. We adapt. We find solutions. And we never give up." Rion approached, carrying a portable scanner. "Captain, I've located some survivors," he reported. "They're hiding in an underground network beneath the city. It's old, probably built as a refuge long ago. If we move quickly, we can get everyone there before the Krath notice us." Arya nodded. "Good work, Lyria. Can you lead us there? You know the city better than anyone." Lyria hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. Follow me. But we must be careful. The Krath are still near. Their patrols are ruthless." The group moved cautiously, slipping between shattered buildings and hidden alleys. Arya kept a careful eye on the sky, watching for any signs of the Krath patrols, flying drones that scanned the streets below with precision. Her heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. Panic would only get them caught. As they approached the entrance to the underground network, Lyria paused. "This way," she whispered, pointing to a small, almost hidden doorway beneath the rubble. "It leads to tunnels that the Krath cannot detect easily. We can move unseen." The group descended carefully into the darkness. The tunnels were narrow, damp, and echoing, but they provided cover from the enemy above. Lyria's knowledge of her city was invaluable. She guided them through twists and turns, past traps and collapsed sections, until they reached a larger chamber where dozens of Zerithian survivors were waiting. Gasps of relief filled the air as the humans and Lyria entered. Mothers clutched their children, and the elderly looked at Lyria with hope in their eyes. You are alive," one of them whispered. "We feared the worst." Lyria smiled faintly, her strength returning. "Thanks to them," she said, nodding toward Arya and her crew. "These humans saved me. And now, they will help all of you." The survivors crowded around, asking questions, sharing stories of loss, and expressing gratitude. Arya listened carefully, noting the skills and abilities of those who could fight, those who could heal, and those who could organize. "We'll need everyone," she said. "The Krath could return at any moment. We need a plan." Lyria stepped forward. "Our people are strong, but we are disorganized. If the humans will help us, we can strike back in ways the Krath will not expect." Arya nodded. Exactly. Humans don't rely only on brute force. We use strategy, teamwork, and creativity. We'll train your people, organize patrols, and build defenses. Together, we can make a difference. For the first time since the attack, Lyria allowed herself to feel hope. She watched Arya speak with confidence and clarity, rallying her people not with fear, but with inspiration. Humans were fragile, yes, but they were brave, clever, and resourceful. She had underestimated them before, and now she realized just how powerful that determination could be. Over the next few days, the underground network became a hive of activity. Arya and her crew worked tirelessly alongside the Zarithians, teaching them basic human tactics: how to set traps, how to move silently, how to improvise weapons from materials at hand. They adapted Zarithian technology with human ingenuity, creating defensive measures that the Krath would not anticipate. Lyria observed quietly, sometimes assisting, sometimes just watching. She noticed how Arya moved among the people, offering guidance, encouragement, and reassurance. The humans were not only saving lives, they were instilling confidence, teaching the Zarithians that they were not helpless, that they could fight back. One evening, after a long day of preparations, Arya and Lyria stood at the entrance to the tunnels, looking out over the ruins of the city. The sky above was painted with streaks of red and orange as the sun began to set. The city was quiet, but Arya knew it was only temporary. The Krath would return, and they would be ready. Lyria spoke softly. Your people, they are extraordinary. I have seen strength before, courage before, but never like this. Humans, you inspire others just by being yourselves. Arya looked at her, surprised by the sincerity in Lyria's voice. We're not perfect, she admitted. We make mistakes, but we never give up. That's what makes us humans. Lyria nodded slowly, taking in every word. I underestimated you. I thought you fragile, weak, but I was wrong. You have something in your spirit that even my people have not seen in centuries. The next morning, the underground network buzzed with activity. Teams were assigned to patrol the tunnels, scouts were sent above to monitor enemy movements, and engineers worked on fortifications using a combination of Zarithian crystal technology and human ingenuity. Arya moved among them, offering advice, correcting mistakes, and encouraging cooperation. Then, the alarm sounded. The sensors picked up movement above ground. A Krath patrol had entered the ruins, likely searching for survivors. Arya's crew and the Zarithians quickly moved into position, hidden behind barricades and in the shadows. Remember, Arya whispered to her team, we are not trying to fight them head-on. We will use our wits. Stay calm, stay quiet, and follow the plan. The Krath patrol moved cautiously, scanning the area with their sharp, glowing eyes. They were large, imposing, and clearly dangerous. But the humans had prepared traps, pitfalls, and distractions that forced the patrol to hesitate, giving the hidden defenders the advantage. Arya and Rian coordinated silently with gestures, guiding the Zarithians to create diversions and lead the Krath into harmless but confounding situations. Stones toppled from above, smoke erupted from hidden vents, and the patrol grew increasingly confused. Finally, after several tense minutes, the Krath, frustrated and unable to locate the survivors, retreated. The Zarithians erupted into cheers, their morale lifted for the first time since the attack. Lyria approached Arya, her expression a mixture of astonishment and admiration. You humans, you think in ways I could never imagine. You have saved not only me, but my people, in ways I could not have dreamed. Arya smiled, her chest still pounding from the excitement. It's not just me. It's all of us humans and Zarithians together. We can face threats that no single group could handle alone. Lyria's eyes glimmered with renewed determination. Then we will fight. Not just to survive, but to reclaim our world. With humans by our side, We might have a chance. Over the following weeks, the underground network became a stronghold of hope. Arya and her crew trained the Xerithians in human strategies, combining their strengths to create a resilient and clever resistance. They learned to anticipate enemy movements, to improvise with whatever materials were available, and to rely on teamwork above all else. Lyria, once a ruler in despair, now stood at the center of a growing force. Inspired by the courage of humans, she could not help but marvel at them, fragile, yes, but capable of acts that defied logic and expectation. In them, she saw a spark that could change the course of her people's fate. One evening, as Arya prepared a map of potential Krath patrol routes, Lyria approached her again. "Arya," she said softly, "I do not know how to thank you. You risked your life for me, for my people. Without hesitation. I owe you more than words can express." Arya shook her head. "You don't owe me anything. We did what anyone would do. But now, we fight together. That is thanks enough." Lyria studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Humans, you are remarkable. I will never forget this. The story of today, of you. It will be told for generations." Arya allowed herself a small smile, feeling the weight of responsibility and pride settle comfortably. Humans had a reputation for being underestimated, for being fragile and weak. Yet here, on a distant, war-torn planet, they were proving the opposite. Courage, ingenuity, and compassion were weapons as powerful as any laser or armor, and humans wielded them naturally. As night fell over the ruined city, the stars shining above the underground network seemed brighter than ever. Hope had returned, not just for Lyria or her people, but for the idea that even in the darkest places, strength could emerge from the most unexpected sources. Arya looked at Lyria, determination in her eyes. "This is only the beginning," she said. "We will drive the Krath away. We will save your people. And when it's over, we will show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated." Lyria's violet eyes glimmered with both gratitude and renewed purpose. "Then let us begin," she said, her voice steady, strong, and ready for the fight ahead. The bond between human and Xerithian had been forged in fire and courage. Together, they would face impossible odds, not with brute strength alone, but with the determination, ingenuity, and spirit that made humans, humans, and that spirit would guide them in the battles yet to come. The underground network had become a hive of activity. Arya and her crew moved among the Xerithians, checking the barricades, inspecting improvised weapons, and making sure everyone knew their roles. The air smelled faintly of oil and metal as engineers worked tirelessly to adapt Xerithian technology to human strategies. Despite the chaos, a sense of purpose filled the tunnels. For the first time since the Krath attack, the Xerithians felt hope. Lyria stood near a map projection, tracing her fingers along the city streets. "The Krath patrols have increased," she said quietly. Her violet eyes focused and serious. "They are searching for survivors. They will not stop until every trace of us is gone." Arya nodded. "Then we'll give them a surprise they won't forget. We don't have to fight them directly, but we can outsmart them. And we will." Rian stepped beside her, holding a small device that projected a holographic representation of the city. "We can use the upper ruins as traps," he suggested. "They'll expect the underground tunnels, but they won't anticipate coordinated distractions above." Arya's eyes lit up. "Exactly. Humans are great at thinking differently. We'll split our forces. Half will create decoys above ground. Half will be ready below to strike if they enter the tunnels. We'll force them to make mistakes." Lyria watched them plan with growing amazement. "Your people, humans, you do not fear impossible odds. You turn them into opportunities." Arya smiled faintly. "It's what we do. We adapt, and we never give up." As night fell over the ruined city, the humans and Xerithians moved into their positions. Arya led the group above ground, moving silently among the shattered buildings. She gestured to teams to create noises, topple debris, and light small fires in distant corners. The Kroth patrols would hear activity but could not see the sources. Confusion was their weapon. Below ground, Lyria and the trained Xerithians waited in tense silence. Every shadow seemed alive. Every distant sound made them hold their breath. Arya's strategy depended on their patience and discipline. One wrong move could mean disaster. Minutes passed like hours. Then the first Krath drones appeared, scanning the city with sharp, glowing sensors. They hesitated as fires flared and stones tumbled from above. The patrol split, moving cautiously, trying to locate the source of the disturbances. Arya signaled silently to the Xerithians below, preparing them for the moment to strike. Suddenly, a Krath soldier descended into the ruins near their barricade. It was large, powerful, with claws that gleamed in the moonlight. But it did not see the humans waiting silently above. With a carefully timed signal, Arya triggered a chain of distractions. Stones fell from broken buildings, a burst of smoke erupted nearby, and the patrol panicked, unable to find the source. Below, the Xerithians seized the opportunity. Lyria led them from shadow to shadow. Using the tunnels to flank the Krath patrol, they struck quickly, disabling the enemy with minimal force, using tools and traps rather than brute strength. The humans had trained them well. Arya moved with calm precision, coordinating every action. The Krath soldiers, despite their size and strength, were frustrated and confused. They could not anticipate the intelligence, planning, and creativity that the humans and Xerithians had combined. Hours passed, the battle a tense dance of patience and strategy. Finally, the remaining Krath, realizing they were trapped and outsmarted, retreated into the night sky, their glowing eyes disappearing into the darkness. Cheers erupted among the survivors, their spirits lifted by victory. Lyria approached Arya, her expression a mixture of awe and gratitude. "You, humans, you think in ways I could never imagine. You have saved not only me but my people, and you have done so without slaughter. Your courage is unlike anything I have seen." Arya shook her head. "It's not about being the strongest. It's about being smart, working together, and never giving up. That's what humans do. And now, your people see it too." Over the next few days, the Xerithians trained with the humans constantly. Arya taught them how to anticipate enemy movements, how to use misdirection, and how to work as a team. The underground network became not only a refuge but a school of strategy and resilience. Lyria moved among her people, observing and learning. She had once ruled from a palace, commanding armies with authority. But here, in the tunnels, she saw the value of courage, creativity, and adaptability. Humans, fragile as they seemed, were proving that intelligence and heart could overcome brute force. One evening, Arya and Lyria stood on a small platform overlooking the city ruins. The moonlight reflected off broken towers, painting the destruction in silver and shadow. "Captain," Lyria said softly, "I have ruled for decades, and I have faced many enemies. But never have I seen a species like yours. Humans, you are extraordinary. You fight not only with strength but with your minds, with your hearts. You inspire others without commanding them." Arya smiled faintly. "We do what we must. And sometimes, helping others brings out the best in everyone. Human or Xerithian." Lyria's eyes glimmered with admiration. "I underestimated your kind. I thought humans weak and fragile. But I see now. You are the key to survival, to hope, to victory. You have a spirit that cannot be broken." Arya's chest swelled with pride, but she remained humble. "We are not invincible. We make mistakes, but we never give up. And when we face the impossible, we find ways to succeed." Lyria nodded, her resolve strengthening. "Then we will fight. Together. Humans and Xerithians. We will reclaim what was lost. And the Krath will learn that even the smallest species can be the most dangerous." Days later, a larger Krath force approached, unaware of the underground network's defenses. Arya and Lyria gathered their forces. The humans had taught the Zerithians how to use the terrain, how to anticipate attacks, and how to stay calm under pressure. Every member of the resistance knew their role, and every role was vital. The battle began at dusk. The Krath advanced, confident in their superiority. But they were met with a series of traps, distractions, and clever maneuvers. Human ingenuity combined with Zerithian knowledge created unexpected challenges for the invaders. The Krath, frustrated and confused, struggled to adapt to tactics they could not predict. Arya moved like a conductor, orchestrating the defense with precision. Every move was calculated, every risk measured. Rian followed her lead, coordinating reinforcements and ensuring communication between teams. The Zerithians, inspired by the humans' bravery, fought with newfound courage and skill. The Krath soldiers were formidable, but they had never faced opponents who could anticipate their every move. Slowly, systematically, the resistance forced them back, turning what seemed like a hopeless fight into a strategic victory. As the last Krath retreated, the survivors erupted in cheers. Lyria approached Arya, her eyes shining with gratitude and astonishment. You saved us again. Your courage, your mind, it is beyond what I imagined. Humans, you are truly extraordinary. Arya shook her head. We did this together. Humans, Zerithians, all of us. That is how we win. That is how we survive. The queen studied her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. I will remember this. I will remember you. And your people will be remembered not as fragile creatures, but as heroes, as saviors. You have changed the fate of my world. Over the next weeks, the resistance grew stronger. Arya and her crew continued to teach, guide, and inspire. Lyria worked alongside them, learning from the humans while sharing her people's knowledge. The bond between species deepened, built on mutual respect, shared courage, and unwavering determination. One evening, after another successful defense, Lyria approached Arya privately. Captain, I must confess, I never thought humans could achieve what you have. I doubted your kind. But now, I see the truth. Humans are not weak. Humans are extraordinary. Arya smiled, her eyes reflecting both pride and humility. We are not perfect, but we never give up. And when we combine our strengths with others, we can achieve almost anything. Lyria's expression softened, her voice filled with quiet awe. Then we fight on. We rebuild, we resist, and we reclaim what was stolen from us. With humans by our side, I finally believe it is possible. The city may have been in ruins, the Krath may have been relentless, but hope had returned, not through strength alone, but through courage, strategy, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. Humans, fragile as they seemed, were showing that bravery, intelligence, and compassion could shape the fate of worlds. Arya looked over the city once more, the stars above shining like distant promises. This is only the beginning, she whispered. We will fight. We will win, and we will show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Lyria's violet eyes glimmered with hope. And the galaxy will remember you, Captain Arya Jensen. And it will remember humans, as saviors, as heroes, as allies unlike any other. The bond between humans and Zerithians had grown stronger than any force of destruction. Together, they had faced impossible odds, relying not on strength alone, but on intelligence, courage, and heart. And together, they would face whatever the Krath sent next, ready to protect their people, their planet, and their future. The city was quiet now, but the silence was different from before. It was no longer heavy with fear and despair. Instead, it hummed with the energy of rebuilding and determination. The Zerithians moved through the streets and tunnels with purpose, repairing what they could, reinforcing defenses, and preparing for the day when they would reclaim their world completely. Arya walked beside Lyria, observing the efforts. Every corner, every street, reflected the will of those determined to survive. We've done well, Arya said quietly, her eyes scanning the activity below. But the Krath will not give up easily. We need to be ready if they return. Lyria nodded, her violet eyes reflecting both pride and resolve. I see that humans are not only brave, but wise. You have taught us to think differently, to act together, to adapt. I underestimated your species for too long. Arya smiled faintly. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. But we keep going. That's what matters. The Queen glanced at the young humans around her, Arya's crew, and the Xerithians working together. Your people, humans, they inspire courage. Even in the most hopeless moments. I have never seen anything like it. Over the next few days, Arya and Lyria coordinated teams for patrol, defense, and rebuilding. Engineers adapted Xerithian energy crystals to create warning systems and shields. Scouts mapped the ruined city, marking safe zones and potential ambush points. The humans had taught the Xerithians how to anticipate attacks, improvise traps, and think strategically rather than reactively. Then came the news. A larger Krath force had been detected approaching the planet. This time, they were sending an elite strike team. Strong, fast, and well-armed. Panic would have been normal for any species, but not here, not now. The humans and Xerithians had trained, planned, and prepared for this moment. Arya gathered the leaders of the resistance, her voice calm but commanding. They will try to overwhelm us with strength. They will expect fear. We will give them neither. We will use strategy, teamwork, and every advantage we have. We will fight smart. And we will win. Lyria stood beside her, her posture regal and confident. We fight together. Humans and Xerithians. Every life matters. Every action counts. And we will reclaim our world, no matter what the Krath send. The first Krath ships appeared in the sky, massive and black against the starlit horizon. From the tunnels and rooftops, the resistance watched. Ready, Arya's crew moved swiftly, positioning teams, sending messages, and coordinating with the Xerithians. The Krath landed in scattered zones across the city. They were confident, expecting the ruins to be deserted. Instead, they were met with human creativity and Xerithian resolve. Traps delayed them, smoke and mirrors confused them, alarms and false signals divided their forces. Every move they made was anticipated and countered. Arya and Rien led the central group, moving with precision. Small teams struck quickly, disabling enemy weapons, blocking routes, and forcing the Krath into disadvantageous positions. Lyria's Xerithian warriors flanked the invaders from hidden passages, using techniques taught by Arya and adapted with their own knowledge of the city. Despite their power, the Krath were outsmarted at every turn. Human ingenuity had turned the battlefield into a labyrinth of clever traps and unpredictable tactics. They could not anticipate the Resistance's coordinated strikes, the way humans and Xerithians worked as one mind. Hours passed in tense, calculated maneuvers. The Krath, frustrated and exhausted, began to retreat. Realizing that brute force alone would not win this battle, the survivors of the elite strike team were either captured, disabled, or chased away by a united resistance that refused to give in. Lyria approached Arya as the last Krath ship lifted from the city. You, humans, you have done the impossible. You have turned the tide of battle, not with power, but with your minds, your courage, and your hearts. I cannot believe what I have seen. Arya shook her head. It's not just me. It's all of us, humans and Xerithians together. That is how we win. That is how we survive. That is how we make a difference. The Queen studied her, a faint smile appearing on her face. Then let it be known, she said firmly, that humans are not to be underestimated. Today, you have saved not only me, but my people. And you have shown a power that no enemy can ignore. Your spirit. It is extraordinary. In the following days, the Xerithians worked tirelessly to rebuild what they could of their city. Structures were reinforced, tunnels expanded, and defenses improved. Human ingenuity combined with Zerithian technology created a network that was stronger than before, a living testament to cooperation and courage. Arya and her crew continued to teach, guide, and inspire. They showed the Zerithians how to repair energy crystals for both defensive and daily use, how to organize supply lines efficiently, and how to maintain vigilance without fear. The bond between species deepened, built on respect, courage, and shared hardship. One evening, as Arya and Lyria watched the city from a high vantage point, the Queen spoke softly. "Captain Arya Jensen, I will never forget what you have done. You risked your life for me, for my people, and for a future that seemed impossible. Humans, your courage, your intelligence, and your compassion. It has changed the fate of my world." Arya smiled, her heart warmed by the sincerity in Lyria's voice. "We all did this together, every human, every Zerithian. It's the teamwork, the willingness to act, and the courage to face fear that makes the difference. That is what we do." Lyria nodded, a quiet determination settling over her. "Then we fight on. We rebuild. We reclaim what was stolen. And we will not allow the Krath to take our world again. With humans by our side, we are unstoppable." In the following months, the resistance grew stronger, transforming the ruins into a thriving network of protection and recovery. Trade routes were reopened, communication lines restored, and survivors returned from hiding. The city, though scarred, began to thrive again. The story of human bravery spread among the Zerithians, inspiring all to stand taller, fight harder, and believe in the impossible. Arya and Lyria often walked among the people, observing the progress. Children laughed again, learning both Zerithian and human ways of thinking. Adults shared knowledge, combining traditions and tactics to create new methods of survival and cooperation. The Krath had underestimated the bond between humans and Zerithians, and they would not make that mistake again. One day, as Arya walked through the streets repairing a fallen barricade, Lyria approached. "Captain, I must say again, humans, you are extraordinary. Your courage, your ingenuity, your heart. It has saved my people. You are more than a warrior. You are a symbol of hope." Arya shook her head, feeling humbled. "I'm not a symbol. I'm just one human. But together, we can be stronger than any enemy. That's what matters. That's what makes a difference." Lyria smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Then let us continue. Together, humans and Zerithians, we will rebuild, protect, and thrive. The galaxy will remember this day. And it will remember humans. As heroes. As saviors. And as allies, unlike any other." As night fell, the city glowed softly with restored energy crystals, casting a gentle light across the rebuilt streets. The stars above seemed brighter, reflecting the hope and courage that had taken root below. Arya looked up at the sky, her chest filled with pride and determination. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "We've shown what humans can do. We've saved a people, turned despair into hope, and proven that even in the darkest moments, courage and intelligence can prevail." Lyria stood beside her, her violet eyes shining with admiration and resolve. "And the story of humans will spread across the galaxy. You have changed not only my world, but the way other species see your kind. You are more than fragile creatures. You are extraordinary." In the days that followed, the alliance between humans and Zerithians grew stronger. They shared knowledge, strategies, and culture, forming bonds that could withstand any threat. Together, they rebuilt the city into a thriving center of life, hope, and innovation. The Krath, defeated and confused, never expected the resilience and ingenuity of humans. They would carry the memory of their defeat across the stars, and other civilizations would remember humans as the species that refused to yield, that faced impossible odds, and that triumphed through courage, intelligence, and heart. Arya walked through the city one last time, watching the Zerithians go about their lives with renewed energy. Children played in the streets, engineers worked on new energy grids, and warriors trained with a mixture of human and Zerithian techniques. The city was alive again, stronger than ever. Lyria approached her, placing a hand over Arya's. "Captain, you have saved me. You have saved my people, and through your courage and determination, you have shown the galaxy what humans can achieve. You are extraordinary." Arya smiled, feeling the weight of the journey and the triumph. "It's not just me, it's all of us, humans, Zerithians. Together, we are stronger than anything the galaxy can throw at us, and that is the story we will carry forward." As the sun rose over the city, casting golden light across the rebuilt streets, Arya and Lyria stood side by side. The battle was won, the Krath driven away, and a new era had begun. Humanity had proven that courage, ingenuity, and compassion could change the fate of worlds, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. Hope, courage, and resilience had triumphed. The story of humans and Zerithians united would be told for generations. A shining example of what was possible when intelligence, heart, and bravery came together. And at the center of it all stood Arya Jensen, a human, small in size but mighty in spirit, who had shown that even the most fragile beings could save worlds.